Hi everyone, and hello world. Welcome to the very first episode of the Digital Music Source, my YouTube channel for showcasing the possibilities of using digital instruments and audio tools to make music. My name is Jerry, and I am an educator. That's my professional career, but I'm also a digital music hobbyist, someone who likes to explore and play with digital music tools. I'll tell you more about me and my plans for this channel in a future episode, but for now, let's get started with the theme for this episode, a demo of an interesting new digital instrument from a company called Waverunner Audio. The instrument is called the Chanterelle Trumpet. It's a relatively inexpensive virtual instrument with some unique articulations. It does require the full version of Contact, so make sure that you own that if you're planning to purchase this particular instrument. Let's start out by taking a look at some of the traditional articulations for the trumpet, the short and the sustains. You'll notice that the sound has reverb built in, and that's one of the default settings of this instrument. I'm going to turn it off so that you can hear it without the default reverb setting. You'll also notice that there are choices of different microphones, the Omni to get the room sound with the trumpet, and Ribbon for a close-up sound. Let's hear what those sound like individually. First, we'll try the Ribbon microphone. And now we'll move the Omni microphone in place and completely lower the Ribbon microphone. And here we go. I really prefer the Ribbon effect. It gives it more of a close tone, and while the room does have some useful uses in some music, the Ribbon really brings out the sound of that trumpet. You'll also notice that in addition to those controls, there are controls for reverb, delay, adding a tape saturation sound, and also playing with the stereo field. Let's take a look at the second of the main articulations, the sustain, for doing kind of a trumpet choral bed. Has a really nice, pleasant tone. And now for the articulation that I think is really worth the price of admission for this library. It's the legato articulation, and it contains true legato slides between notes, which make the trumpet sound very realistic. Let's listen to this. Just a really beautiful legato tone, and really brings out the beauty of this trumpet, which is a very soft tone, but the legato adds a dimension of realism that's not present in many virtual instruments that don't include true legato. Now, let's take a look at some of the specialty articulations here. It includes the Morse code articulation, which allows the trumpet to play and almost sound like Morse code. Let's hear what this sounds like. Now I'm not making that repeated sound, that's built into the effect. I'm just holding the keys down and it's making that effect happen. Here's another unique articulation called muted random vibrato. And here's another effect called growls. With this I can control the mod wheel to make the growls happen sooner or later. So first I'll play them with the mod wheel down, which has a little delay before it gives a growl, and then we'll do a longer, I'll move the mod wheel up so that the growl will happen immediately. And now for the most interesting articulation in this library, it's called horses. This takes the trumpet and makes it imitate the sound of a horse. You may have heard this in the classic song, at the end of the classic song, Sleigh Ride. Let's take a look at some of these articulations that are laid out on the keyboard. It's an effect that's really interesting. I don't know how many times I would use it in my personal music performances, but it's nice that it's included. For me, the real beauty of this library is that legato patch, that legato transitions that appear between the notes that provide that hint of realism for the instrument, as well as the sustain patch and the shorts. Those are both really useful. So to wrap up the first episode of this video, I want to throw in a little trick that I did with this instrument. I wanted to have the sound of someone like Chris Botti playing the trumpet, a really mellow jazz sound. So I created this EQ in Contact and applied it to the trumpet to change that sound. Let's hear it first without the EQ. And now let's turn on that EQ and we'll activate it. And let's hear what it sounds like now. So it really gives it a more full, mellow sound for the instrument. To wrap things up, let's hear how this would sound like with the band. In this case, I'm going to use a backing track that I created in Session Jazz on my iPad, playing it into Contact, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for listening and watching this first episode of The Digital Music Source.